Hello and welcome to Anime Only. My name is Brandon, and man, I could talk about this episode all day long. I made a huge list of notes and little tidbits of information that I noticed, or things worth mentioning or commenting on. But in the name of brevity, I trimmed it down a little bit because it takes me days to edit my videos together, and this one's already late due to the holidays. So, for brevity's sake, let's jump right into it. The episode opens with the crew hearing Luffy's dream apparently for the first time. The reaction that each of the crew gives, I think, speaks volumes to what Luffy's dream might be. Notably, Sanji and Usopp seem less than exhilarated. Sanji at least seems to be in good cheer about it. Usopp, on the other hand, is so unimpressed he tells Chopper to calm down. Franky is super invigorated after hearing it, so whatever it is, I think it must resonate with him on a personal level. But I really wish I can understand the inflection behind this line. It could be read a bunch of different ways. It could be read as, you have to be king of the pirates to make that happen. Or, you have to be king of the pirates to make that happen. Or, you have to be king of the pirates to make that happen. You know, depending on how it's read, it could mean a bunch of different stuff. Side note, Franky kind of sounds like the voice actor has a swollen tongue or just had dental work done or something like that. And if that's the case, I hope Kazuki Yao, Franky's Japanese voice actor, feels better soon. Robin, as usual, is very practical, explaining the difficulty in locating the last poneglyph, since no one ever has. My guess is it's on Elbaf. All the other road poneglyphs have been in secluded countries, and there is no more secluded country than Elbaf. Franky shuts Robin down pretty quickly though, and kinda harshly, calling her an idiot. Brook gives a little chuckle like he doesn't quite get it. And this could be really interesting, because if you remember, Brook was alive before Roger's time, before there was a pirate king to aspire to and a One Piece to hunt down. So if Luffy's dream has to do with something more recent than that, it would kind of make sense that Brook wouldn't exactly understand. I know we aren't supposed to know what Luffy's dream is yet, but I've kind of always assumed that his crew knew. It makes me wonder, why would they follow a man without knowing what his goals were? What if he wanted to be Pirate King for nefarious purposes? Of course, Luffy's personality kind of negates that train of thought, but what if? Would they have ditched him? Or do you think they would have stuck by him no matter what? Either way, the crew seems pretty stoked about it, even bringing Jinbei and Chopper to tears, and causing Nami to look at Luffy with this almost motherly, "You idiot." Look, I hope I pulled that off right, or else that looked really stupid. So I don't imagine it's a bad thing, but I also don't think it's going to be that profound either. We finally see Sabo again for the first time since the Reverie, and his apparent involvement with Cobra's assassination. It's been so long, I don't even remember anymore if we already knew that Sabo was innocent or not. I just kind of always assumed that he was because, of course he was. Sabo uses an open line to contact Dragon and the other revolutionaries. Because it was an open line, the Marines easily intercept the call, having already been keeping watch on Kamabaka. Sabo tells them that he didn't kill Cobra, and is about to tell them the truth about the empty throne, when out of nowhere, giant-ass freaking laser beams come shooting out of the sky. And after just a brief moment, Lelouchia is nothing but a hole in the middle of the ocean. And if Sabo wasn't being all dramatic and choosing his words to be as vague and slow as possible, the truth would have gotten out right then and there and spread like wildfire. As it is, the elders tell the Marines that Lelouchia never even existed. They don't say that it's because they turned it into an ocean hole, but they have some faith in this guy not to talk. This is just a normal dude, maybe captain. at best. He's not like an admiral or anything. So I don't really get this decision. There have to be people all over the world that know about this island. There are probably even Marines from there. It's a little ridiculous to assume that this lie is gonna hold up, especially since their influence over the world seems to be loosening. Speaking of Lelouchia, another side note. Why do a bunch of the citizens have that X-shaped bandage on their cheek? Even the king has it. But nobody looks injured or battle-worn or anything. Their clean clothes and lack of wounds kind of implies that the coup was bloodless. So did just these few people get punched in the face and are like, oh, I need a bandage? The light show from the destruction of Lelouchia is spectacular. And Sabo is dead. Again. I wonder how many times Oda's gonna try to fake us out with Sabo's death. We're at like 3 now? 4 probably? Either way, he's really hoping that we still care. I don't. But hopefully somebody out there still falls for this, or else all of Oda's hard work will be for nothing. The reaction that we get from the 5 elders when the Marines tell them that the call is coming from Lelouchia is a tad conspicuous. Their facial expressions and the way they talk about it makes me think that they were going to do this to Lelouchia either way, and might have actually already been on the move to destroy the island before they even knew Sabo was there. Another side note, the Gorosei tell the Marines to turn off their snail, but then they continue to talk to them and give them orders. So, did they not turn off their snail? We rejoin our crew as they enter tumultuous waters, freezing cold and waves strong enough to toss a sea king. And almost everybody is on deck rushing back and forth to ensure they get across this area safely. Everyone except for Chopper and Robin. Chopper, I can kind of understand because of what happens when he actually does go out and try to help. But why isn't Robin helping? She has probably the most useful ability for these kinds of situations, and every time it happens, she's always sitting inside doing nothing. I love Robin, but man, she is lazy as hell. Nami believes that they're nearing an island when she's interrupted by Luffy when they come upon what Jinbei calls a big warm eddy. They're about to go around it when Luffy sees someone in the water, which Sanji confirms because his robot hacks allow him to hear a woman scream from a mile away, underwater, and through this weather. And as everybody's trying to decide what to do, Zoro calmly walks up and cuts the eddy in half. And only Zoro could look so badass cutting water. And as this is all happening, Chopper comes out to help. And another side note, there's actually a lot of these in here, and I'm sorry for that, but Chopper is so fucking adorable. But cuteness is nothing to the gale raging outside, and the wind carries him off. Luffy tries to save him, only to get carried off himself. And the animation in this scene is wild. It kind of reminds me of when Luffy went into Gear 5 and he was trying to hear his heartbeat. You know, what kind of acid were they taking? And actually, now that I notice it, this whole episode is kind of wacky looking. All the character designs and animations just kind of feel a bit off. As Luffy and Chopper are in the air, the eddy spits out a small child who turns out to be Jewelry Bonnie, another member of the worst generation. If memory serves, the only other time we've ever actually interacted with Bonnie is when she stopped Zoro from murdering that celestial dragon that one time. But this time, after thanking Luffy for saving her, she tries to warn the crew still aboard the Sunny to look down. And when they do, they see... I will say this about this episode. They nailed the crew's reactions. They all have very expressive expressions. I didn't write that very well. Usopp starts running away, of course, because what else does he ever do? But it's like, where are you gonna go, bro? You're on a ship in the middle of an ocean. Your only option is to jump into the water, and that seems counterproductive. I especially like Brook's reaction. It's all slow-mo, so we don't get any noise from it, but I think that actually makes it funnier. It's like those old cartoons when they see a mouse and they jump up on the chair and they're like, ah! Speaking of Brook, I'm pretty sure he was high this whole episode. On top of his reactions from earlier in the episode, when he sees the big warm eddy, he stares at it, awestruck, and he's just like, and it reminds me of that scene in Airbender when Sokka drinks the cactus juice, and when he sees the mushroom cloud, and he's like, mushroom, maybe it's friendly! But maybe I'm just projecting. I do have a couple other points I want to make real quick that didn't really have a place elsewhere. Firstly, why doesn't the sea fill the hole from this attack? I mean, maybe it does, and it's just showing us the immediate aftermath, but this hole is very reminiscent of Enies Lobby, so it might be safe to assume that this hole is here to stay. Although there seems to be a clear difference in how the water around the holes behave in these two places. At Enies Lobby, the ocean cascades in a giant waterfall ring into the hole. At the site of Lelouchia, the water seems to be repelled and forced to move around the hole rather than flowing into it. Another big difference is at Enies Lobby, some of the land still remains, while everything around it and under it is gone. At Lelouchia, not a scrap is left. No floating islands, no ruins, no nothing. So maybe these aren't the works of the same force. This might require further research and maybe a video just for this. Let me know in the comments if you'd be interested on learning how water flows and how whirlpools are made and how water affects land over time. To help drive my point home on how these two places are similar, but probably aren't caused by the same phenomena, and how it's more likely that Enies Lobby was sucked into the ground from underneath it, rather than being destroyed from above like Lelouchia. Secondly, I find it kind of funny how Zoro is trying to be the adult when he's dealing with Sanji ever since they started that raid on Onigashima, but he's still very easily drawn into fighting with him. It's very clear that Zoro cares for Sanji, and he treats him almost like an annoying little brother. I love their dynamic. Even if I don't particularly like Sanji as a character, he's the perfect wingman to Zoro's straight man. And thirdly, there's this whole scene where Big News Morgan is speaking seemingly directly towards us about the fall of the emperors and the rise of the new ones and Blackbeard and all that stuff. Basically just recapping the last couple big events. This is the second such recap that we've had since Kaido and Big Mom went down, like, 5-6 episodes ago? The first one was this dude in Wano, but at least this one doesn't take up the whole episode. And the last couple things that I want to mention are, there is a comic convention that has recently risen up in my town. It's held in Kingman, Arizona, and is called King Con. You know, King Man, King Con, it's very clever. They've held one so far and it was pretty cool. It's small and mostly not anime. They have a lot of old DC comics and a lot of really cool old figurines. They had a horror booth there, Freddy, Jason, Chucky, you know, the classics. But there was some anime related stuff. I actually got this wall scroll of Frankie at that last comic convention 2-3 months ago now. And there was an awesome Gear 5 Luffy cosplay just walking around, being chill, talking to everybody. It was fun. Anyway, I'm thinking about covering it. I'm gonna go regardless, but I was thinking about taking pictures and video and trying to talk to the people who are putting it on and trying to, you know, have maybe interviews with some of the booths or, you know, stuff like that. Being local, maybe I can help raise awareness for this new convention and help it grow. It's being held March 16th and the 17th. I'll go ahead and link to their Facebook in the description. Tell them Brandon from Anime Only sent you. You won't get anything for it, but it'd be nice to have some recognition. The last thing is, I have a Patreon page, which I will also link in the description. If you want to get my videos early, view works in progress, see bloopers, have access to all of my future plans, which include, but are not limited to, live watch-alongs, a Discord community, and of course, Hippo merch, as well as some videos deemed too spicy for YouTube. Come on over to my Patreon and become a member. For just a couple bucks a month, you can help support my channel and have more control over what you want to see. And if you don't want to fork over any money, that's perfectly okay too. There is totally a free members section, and I am not stingy with my benefits. And with that, I want to give a shout out to all of my current Patreon members. Lori Truesdale. That's it. Just the one. But I think I appreciate you all the more because you're my only one. You've been there since the beginning. So, thanks, Mom. And a big thanks to all of my subscribers and anyone who's watching this right now. And if you made it this far in the video, why don't you leave a like, comment, share, subscribe. I know it's annoying to hear us ask you to do that for us all the time, but I figure if you already got through all of the end bullshit that I just went over, you either wouldn't mind hearing it, or you're not paying attention and the video is just playing in the background. Either way, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. When out of nowhere, giant ass freaking laser beams come shooting out of the sky.
Follow in my footsteps, I say hello.